Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast. My name is Adam Code. I'm your host. It's almost Group D time! We're almost to Group D! Very soon! March 25th! Group D! Let's go! Dan's here too. No, I'm kidding. Dan, my co-host, is here. What's up, Dan?
Not too much. Yeah, I don't feel as exciting as the Group D though.
How can you know it's Astralis? It's Endpoint. EG, Fnatic, Team Liquid, VP. All the amazing Counter-Strike!
Yeah, that is not tomorrow, Adam.
Dan's like, I'm gonna have to find another host. Dan's like, I'm gonna have to go find another show. I'm gonna go do my own. This guy's way too excited about Group D. Endpoint's gonna end up going 5-0. What does end up happening? Like, at Endpoint just run over the rest of the group.
You never know. I mean, they did look pretty good in
on
the
Endpoint anyway. Yeah, that roster isn't doing much. I mean, they'll make noise, but look at the talent. Anyway,
did they just get Flames? Was that who they just signed?
Yes, Flames. They got Flames. So Surreal, Crucial, Robin, Mighty Max, Flames. We'll get into them tomorrow. Crucial and Robin are pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, Group D is on tomorrow's podcast, folks. Group D is tomorrow's podcast. We're gonna finish talking up about Group C. And friendly reminder. This is group stage formats going on to March 29th. 4 single round-robin format groups. Each group has 6 teams. All matches are best of 3. This is for the play-in seeding group. The second and third place teams will advance to the round of 12. Speaking of advancing to the round of 12, there are so many different scenarios that can go down for this tomorrow, because both Na'Vi and Cloud9 are 2-2. Gambit and Fury are locked into the playoffs. They can both lose tomorrow. And it does. They can't both lose. They're facing each other. So only one of them can lose. And they're both locked into the playoffs. What this is really about is who gets the third spot. It's Na'Vi versus Cloud9. So, in one of the Discords, Dan, that I know you and I are a part of, the Main Event DFS Discord. Believe it is their proper name. Yep, Main Event DFS. So, one of the people in there, shout out to 19 Braves fan 95. Wanted to make sure I got his name right. 19 Braves fan 95. Maybe a gal, never know. They posted something in that Discord regarding the possible scenarios, Dan. And you and I went over it pre-pod. And I don't know about you, but it's definitely seemed like it doesn't matter for MIBR and T1. Obviously, they're eliminated, but there are many different scenarios, and one in particular that are just sticking out. And I'm going to go over that. So they shared this here. I'm going to go over here to Twitter. And this is from Striker. If any of you all have watched HLTV Confirmed, Striker is one of the hosts. It's Professor, Sponge, and Striker. They're the 3 hosts, and they have a guest usually rotating in and out, whether it's a coach, whether it's a player. They just had Snappy on today for Ments. They were talking to Snappy about Snappy's plans for Ents and where they're going from here, and I got to go check that out, and I encourage everyone else to check that out too. Dan, let's talk about these different scenarios, my friend. Here are the scenarios. The top folks, the first cases 1, 2, 3, and 4, are if Furia defeat Gambit. What are the outcomes? I'll sum up the top. We're going to get into the bottom in a second. If Furia defeat Gambit, there's only one scenario where Na'Vi are knocked out of the playoffs. Furia have to defeat Gambit, and Na'Vi have to lose to Team 1. Cloud9 can beat MIBR, and it wouldn't matter. That's the only time they win. Na'Vi control their own destiny if Furia defeat Gambit. Dan, what do you think? You think Furia defeat Gambit? I don't.
Not happening. I don't think that. I mean, if I was Gambit, I'd be super motivated to get Na'Vi out just because of they have the best player in the world. I mean,
yep. All right, so let's
one of.
So speaking of which, Mr. Simple, who in 4 slates has broken 2 of the 4 slates.
Right.
We'll get into that in our recap. Boy, was I wrong. Anyway, let's talk about what happens if Gambit defeat Furia, which is pretty much what you and I can agree on, right? Like, we both think Gambit are going to win, regardless if it's 2-1 or 2-0, right?
Yeah, Gambit's too good.
Yeah.
They're just playing out of their shoes.
I mean, I can see Gambit winning 2-0, but I can see 2-1 too. But regardless, if Gambit win, cases 5 to 8 apply. Navi can Navi get in only on 2 scenarios. Gambit defeat Furia in cases 7 and 8. Navi can either win or lose against Team 1 if MIBR defeat Cloud9. Navi's in.
Oh, interesting.
Like Cloud9's eliminated. Cloud9 have to win to
So
make it
bumps
in if
Cloud9.
Gambit win.
Okay. So that makes this a lot more interesting. I'm glad we went over. I'm glad that this person posted this.
Yep. So I'm not gonna pronounce Milan's last name. I'm not even gonna try butchering it.
Yeah.
Sveda.
Sveda.
I'm just gonna call him Striker. So
There you
cases 5 and 6, I think, is what is really interesting. In cases 5 and 6, and 5 is really the one I think everyone wants to focus in on. Or I think we should focus in on. Gambit defeat Furia. Cloud9 defeat MIBR. I think Cloud9 defeat MIBR. Do you?
Yeah, but there's a shot. I mean, that they don't.
If you had to
it might
pick
be
who
ours.
you think is going to win, for the sake of this example, who do you think win, Cloud9 or MIBR?
Cloud9.
Okay. Navi can defeat Team 1 or lose to Team 1. It wouldn't matter. Navi are eliminated from the playoffs. All Cloud9 have to do if Gambit win is defeat MIBR to make the playoffs. And Navi are eliminated.
Navi's out, man.
Now, again, the way MIBR has looked recently, especially Mr. Cello, he was like going toe-to-toe with Simple in that triple overtime in Mirage. That was just absolutely outstanding. And then you can see Striker here below. Just to specify, this is a tweet from Striker. He said, just to specify case 5, now that we have a scoreline between Furia and Cloud9, here's the updated scenario. Not that it matters too much. Navi ends up eliminated there either way. It just determines who goes through from the second and third seed. So here's the updated case 5. Gambit defeat Furia. Gambit's 5-0. Which I think, you and I think is a pretty likely scenario. And who we're picking to win.
Yeah.
Navi can defeat Team 1. And Cloud9 defeat MIBR. Cloud9 actually gets the second seed.
Wow.
So again,
okay.
Cloud9, if Gambit win, and so the other thing everyone should keep in mind, all of these games are at 2 p.m. Eastern. They're all at the same time. Which I think, now that I think about it, kind of genius. You're not having like Gambit and Furia playing like at 7 a.m. and then Navi going, well, Gambit won. Is what it is. Or Cloud9 go, okay, we have to win now. So like I think this is good because everyone is still playing for something. The top 4 teams are still playing for something. And so aren't MIBR and Team 1 for that matter. They're playing to knock some of these other teams out to make a statement. So, what do you think? Do you think this is the more likely scenario?
I think it's going to be tough for MIBR tomorrow or today. Now that we understand the motivation that is there, because I hate to say it, like some of these Counter-Strike teams, they have to decide that they're going to show up in order to play well. I mean, sometimes they need to hit shots too, but over the course of 2 maps. I think the motivation makes a huge difference.
Yep, and I think everyone is going to be so focused on the games tomorrow. No one, again, the beauty of having all the games go off at the same time. No one's going to be focused on the other games. Maybe the coach or maybe someone else on the team are like, hey, Gambit just crushed Furia on map 1. Oh, Furia came back. I'm like, this is what I think the likely scenario is that happens tomorrow. I think Gambit beat Furia. I think Navi beat Team 1. And I think Cloud9 beat MIBR. Navi's out of the playoffs if this is the scenario.
Right.
Which is shocking. But then again, Navi can go back to some of their gameplay and reevaluate those 2 losses and go, what happened to the team play? So I think what Navi is hurting from, I think we saw this a little bit towards the summer of 2020. Navi is struggling team-wise, as like team gameplay in general. That's my opinion.
I
So
agree.
someone, Dan, that you and I know, and I know for sure, we both respect, um, Stevie T PFL from Roto Grinders. You know, like
Okay.
I remember Stevie saying that Navi is a excellent land team, and I
Yep.
think if there's, with that being said, we should really keep that in the back of our minds. This is all online gameplay. This is very different than being in an arena on land. Very different. Certain players in these teams they feed off the crowd. It's very different when you're just playing online and you don't have that like crowd. Can you imagine what Gambit versus Virtus Pro at IM Katowice in person with the packed crowd of who knows how many thousands upon thousands of people? What that would have been like? It would have been insane.
Yeah.
So like I just remember Stevie saying that Navi are a LAN team, and like so you can like so with that being said, I think their gameplay online has suffered a little bit. I think that anyone that's not named Simple, and even Simple to a point, are fluctuating all over the place. We've seen Simple be terrible on two of these four games already, and then has absolutely gone ham. I don't know if ham is the right word. He's gone nuts on the other
Yeah.
two games. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this sucks because, and like, Navi 3-2 are out. That's terrible. Now again, I will say, and we'll get into the actual slate in a little bit. I think MIBR have a real shot to beat Cloud9.
So you're, of course they do.
I think from a pure leverage standpoint, and we're talking just DFS here for a second, they're the best leverage team on the entire slate to go to.
And it kind of depends on your narrative too, because if you think that, I mean, if you think that Navi gives up and doesn't even care, doesn't even try to win, maybe Team One wins, who knows? Then it doesn't matter. Um,
This
but
scenario
if you think,
hinges on
yeah,
whether Cloud and MIBR win, because it doesn't matter if Navi beat Team One, if MIBR
they
beat
lose to Team
Cloud9.
One, they're right.
Right. Well, again, going back to the scenarios themselves. So if you take a look at K6, even if they lose to Navi and Cloud9 still beat MIBR, it doesn't matter. And the same thing here. If MIBR beat Cloud9, it doesn't matter whether they win or lose. Navi are in as the 3 seed. There's only
Oh, I
3
forgot about that.
scenarios in which Navi are out of the playoffs. And I think case 5 here is the most likely scenario.
But
I can see case 8. Gambit over Furia, Navi over Team 1, and MIBR over Cloud9.
yeah, I mean, I would I probably would model my single entry, my one entry after that scenario, just because. Well, maybe not though.
Folks, I apologize. I just realized you really can't see any of this. That's my bad, folks.
I'm having trouble thinking, like, making a decision here, because I think it really depends on the narrative, is which way I would go, if I would play Navi or if I would play uh my VR
Gotcha. All right, folks. See if
or
that's a little better. I apologize. I had no idea, Dan, that we went at that. I didn't take a look at my other screen. It's my bad, everybody. So these are the cases we're talking about. Dan, go ahead and finish up your thought. My bad.
Well, I was seeing your screen, so I don't know if that matters, but yeah, it's a bit of a narrative that you have to decide on.
Mm-hmm.
Because in one respect, okay, Cloud9 tries too hard. MIBR doesn't have anything to lose. so they take him out because Cloud9's a new team. Maybe they're nervous, whatever. They're, too hard on themselves, like their coaches on Twitter, Henry G. And then
Henry G is the GM of Cloud9.
Okay, sorry, not coach, but and then Navi just tries anyway, and they can. I mean, obviously they can crush Team One. So in that case, you play Navi and you play MIBR if that's your scenario or your narrative. If not, do you still play Navi and Cloud9? Like, can you even fit it? I guess that's maybe my question.
Yeah, we will get into that for sure. You and I took a look at pricing. I think it's going to be another interesting day. We have to make some decisions. So, just real quickly again, now that the folks at home can see the tweet, well, most of it. Case 1, 2, 3, and 4, folks. Again, this is a Fury defeat Gambit. The only scenario in which Navi do not make the playoffs is they lose to Team 1, which I don't see that happening 95 out of 100 times. Right? Cases 5 to 8 is what Dan and I were just spending a lot of time on. If Gambit win. So, if Gambit win, I think the likely cases are cases 5 and case 8. I don't think Navi lose to Team 1 regardless, so I'm just going to not worry about cases 6 and 7. Gambit defeats Furia, Navi and Cloud9 both win their respective matchups, Navi's out. If MIBR defeat Cloud9 and Gambit defeat Furia and Navi beat Team 1, Navi's in as the 3rd seed. The other one I was talking about, let me go back here to the tweet. Striker then posted this update, which you can barely see. I'm going to try getting a little bit of. Basically, it's the updated scenario is Navi are still out in case 5. Cloud9 would end up as the 2 seed. How crazy is this? Cloud9 ended up as a 2 seed. Granted, they did just trounce over Furia in that last match. That was a weird matchup. It's like Furia didn't even put up a fight. It was very weird.
Yeah, I saw some
there was some
chatter
rumors.
on.
There was some rumors that we're not going to address, but there were some rumors out there. But regardless, with that being said, you and I can both kind of agree case 5 is the most likely scenario for tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one.
Okay. Well, folks, we spent a lot of time on this, and again, sorry about the technical difficulties. With that being said, we're going to go back in here actually to the winning lineups from the past slate that was on March 22nd? When was this played? March 22nd. Yes, it was, March 22nd. There was a
Monday.
Yeah, 15-way tie for first place. You know why there was a 15-way tie for first place, Dan?
Do I know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because Cloud9 came through.
Because of this man.
Well, that too, but I mean, you couldn't fit him. You could not fit this lineup without Cloud9 coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's, in my opinion, my professional opinion, Cloud9 was the key.
Yep. And I tried getting there, so I'll quickly show my lineup. I had no idea what to do because pricing was all over the place. I took a stand on Hobbit just absolutely smashing. And because I took a stand on that and put him as captain, I had the percentage right. Excuse me, 5.4% captain. This stat line didn't work. I took a stand on Art. I took a stand on Junior. I ran it back with Floppy. Again, I was trying to make pricing work because I put Hobbit and Shiro in, and that didn't leave me much per player. And that really hurt. So, in retrospect, I probably could have pivoted off Junior and gone Alex, which is one thing I was looking at. And I could have gone to Cello, which would have made me a lot more, which would have made me money. But hindsight's 2020. I did not really know what to do with my lineup. I should have tried coming off Hobbit, maybe to somebody else. But for what it's worth, we go back here to first place. The winning lineup was a 3-2-1. Again, like we've been trying to tell everybody, 3-2-1 or a 2-2-2 seems to be the most likely scenario to win a GPP. This one was a little bit different, and it's kind of the same situation, Dan, that you and I have been talking about between groups B and C with Zywoo and Simple. You don't have to play anyone else with them.
Right.
So Captain Simple, $15,000 at 19.8% owned in the captain spot. He had. Danny, you sitting down? I want to make sure you're
I
sitting
am
down.
still sitting, Adam.
All
I
right.
am still sitting.
I want to make sure you're sitting down. 76 kills, 16 assists, 43 deaths, 14 first kills, a 1v2 clutch, 3 4Ks, 190.5 DK points.
The man's insane.
This is insaneness. Flat out. Now,
yeah, he's too good.
Yeah, one thing you and I said on the pod for that March 22nd slate. We wanted a 2 to 3 man gambit stack. If you could fit 3 on pricing, do it. 3-man gambit stack won it. It was just a different 3-man stack that I didn't really consider that much. And I'm going to have to know going back, if I want to try making some weird stuff work, I'm going to have to play some players I don't normally want to play. Namely, Inters over here on the winning lineup. Now, his stat line is nothing spectacular. He was 26, 7, and 20 for 59 DK points. But at 6,400, he made your 3-man gambit stack work, and these people had Shiro and Exile. You needed Exile to really cash at 105 flat DK points.
Yep.
48, 9, and 18. With 2 4Ks and an ace.
Plus 30.
He was nuts. Shiro also went absolutely bonkers. 41, 10, and 23 with an ace. He had 88.5 DK points. It was that weird Furia Cloud9 game. I said Floppy with a fun play. I wanted Floppy. Floppies looked great. 71 DK points. 31, 11, and 18. Alex was the difference maker because of his performance on Nuke. He did good on map 1, on Overpass, but on Nuke, he went off. He ended up 42, 9, and 23 with a 1v3 clutch. That was a great clutch. I think I remember that one. I think it was on Nuke, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be. But that's a good clutch there, especially for not exactly the highest fragging IGL. 86 DK points. I want to go back and see that 1v3 clutch when this is done, maybe. Dan, 4,400 Alex you needed to win a tournament. What do you think about the winning lineup?
Again, it's this isn't too complicated. This is stacking the team that we wanted to stack with Simple at captain, the one-off that makes sense, and then jamming in the Cloud9 guys and hoping that they win.
Yep.
Not too complicated. And I think we both liked Floppy and Alex at those prices. Yeah.
Matter of fact, didn't you and I put Alex like 3rd on our list?
I don't recall off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure we had Floppy as like a value play.
Gotcha. I think we had them all as value plays.
Yeah.
So that's the winning lineup. 600 points even. Took down.
And then, sorry, the other thing it makes sense that it split that many with that many people because this was such a no nonsense kind of lineup.
Not only was it no nonsense, it's not something I like to typically do with my lineup. So let me explain what I mean. I like to put whoever's in the captain spot with at least one other member from their team. I like to try to grab the extra correlation, but the one thing we can see now and looking back and learning from this, you can one-off Zywoo with Simple. They go off. You don't have to pair them with anybody because they can do well on their own.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's that. Congratulations to the 15 people that won. Let's head on over to this slate. We talked about it, Dan. Let's start it. Gambit versus Furia. I'm gonna pull up the odds. These odds should be right in line with what you and I have been thinking the entire time.
Gambit wins.
Pro League. All right. No, I don't want to bet any of that. I want to just click the website. All right. Gambit are a minus 242 favorite. Navi. I don't know if I've seen 4 digits before. They're a minus 1,110 favorite. Are you kidding me?
That's a big number, Adam.
I think Pinnacle really likes Navi to win. I could be mistaken in reading that, but I think they really like Navi to win. Sarcasm. And then the last game, Cloud9 versus MIBR. Minus 223 favorite for Cloud9. This is kind of right in line with that case 5 that we were talking about, the 3 winners that we think win.
Yeah.
All right, with that being said, let's break down the slate. It's Gambit. It's Gambit versus Furia. Shiro, $9,600. Axiles at $9,000. Hobbit's all the way down at $76. Nafany is at $6,600. Inter is at $5,800. What are you doing with Gambit on the slate?
Stack them.
I like it.
I mean, that's all I can say. Yeah, maybe you run a few lineups with different combinations, but
would you 3-man stack this? I don't think this is
would I
don't think this is a 3-man stack kind of a game. What do you think?
Well, I guess if you wanted to ride the wave from the last lineup, and that one with a 3-man Gambit, I guess that would be probably not the best strategy, just because lightning never strikes twice. But I mean, I think you got to start with Shiro and Axile. Just because of their ceiling, and then Hobbit. It's tough to fit them all.
Yep, if you're playing Shiro and Exile, you have 7,800 for the left per player, including not filling in your captain. Just keep that in mind. You're going to be playing 2 high-value players, and that's not named simple. Let's just have some fun and plug in simple. It's doable, but you have to have a mega cheap captain.
Right.
All right, with that being said, talk to me about the other 3. Because I think Shiro and Hobbit might end up being the second most popular. I think people are going to try making Shiro and Exile work, but I think you're going to see a lot of Shiro and Hobbit stacks.
Just because of the price?
Yep, because Hobbit's all the way down at 7,600. It's a different way to get exposure to Gambit. Now, talk to me about Hobbit, and then I want to talk to you about Nafany.
Hobbit's a great play, as we've seen in the past few matches. He can really go off. There's got to be someone else that's around that price range that might be a little bit better, in a better spot. Like, maybe, I don't know what electronics price is, but
$9,000.
Is it?
$9,400 for electronic. So here are the players around Hobbit. Case Serrato's at 8,000. Cello's at 7,800. Yuri is at 74. Boomage is at 72. Floppy at 7,000.
So on a based on an opportunity cost analysis, Hobbit's a great play.
Yep.
Maybe Floppy would be, but Floppy's still. You could play him Floppy with Hobbit and Shiro and Exile, so you don't necessarily have to. You don't have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's gonna be a play that a lot of people fall on, just like you said.
Yep. I just think just because of a salary point, it could make things work for a lot of people. But we still have more on the site to talk about. Like how Nafany's only $6,600, and how I think Shiro and Nafany are actually the most popular stack on the slate, and if they're not, that's the best play. It's the best 2-man stack from Gambit.
Inter's might be due for his big match.
Inter's won 15 people at GPP. Can you leave well enough alone, please?
But he still hasn't really popped up. Like, every 10 matches he goes crazy.
Excuse me. Inter's won 15 people at GPP. Can we just fade him and smile and move on, please? Jeez.
It was only because of the bonus and the rounds not played bonus.
Listen, I don't think interest is going to pay off for Furia for the same way I don't think Vinny pays off for Furia. Sorry, interest paying off for Gambit. Like Vinny isn't going to pay off for Furia. I mean, these guys aren't exactly known for high fragging ability.
No.
You're going up against Furia. You want to make sure that if Gambit wins, and for what it's worth, I personally think Gambit win 2-1, which will make things very interesting. Inters is going to have to keep up with that stat line in order to be anywhere near optimal. That's my own opinion. But
yeah,
I can see it.
That's a really good point.
But I think Shiro and Nafany, the best two-man Gambit stack on the slate. Nafany against Furia. People may look and go, oh, it's Furia. We may see Nafany sub 20% ownership tomorrow.
Doubt it.
You think Nafany's can be higher than 20%?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I like it. We will see what happens.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you that he is a good play.
And for those out there, Nafany is the IGL for Gambit. I think he is, right? Yeah, Nafany's the IGL for Gambit. Anyway, Furia side of things. K Serrata, the highest priced player at 8,000. Yuri's at 7,400. Art's at 6,400. Vinny at 5,400. And the biggest misprice on this entire slate, Junior is $4,600 bleeping dollars. Why? Shiro is not simple. Shiro is not a fusion of Zaiwu and Simple. Let's simmer down with the pricing. $4,600. He's $2,000 underpriced.
I'm telling you, there's some kind of lag from when he was on Triumph, because he had some really rough goes when Graham had left. So I think there's a lag in the pricing, but that's just my guess.
This is just, it's ridiculous. There's no excuse for it. With that being said, I don't think Junior's in play at all.
Okay.
Just
even at that price?
The price point's what's tempting. His gameplay has looked off.
Okay.
Furia overall are an aggressive team, especially Mr. Art. I don't think Junior is really known as an aggressive opper. I don't know if he's just trying to I think he's trying to get situated with this team. He's been on this team for what now? A month, maybe two, actually playing in competitive matches with this team on land, not being like, landlocked back in the US. He can actually join the team and figure things out and do all that stuff. There's a learning curve there. He's a great opper. It is against Shiro. It is against Gambit. Gambit's undefeated. Furia could upset. If you want to play Furia stacks and if you're MMEing, you make sure you get exposure to Junior. Absolutely. Do I think you play him in a single entry? No.
No. I would not.
Okay. Anyone else on Furia you really like?
Yeah, Vinny, probably because they're gonna get Inferno, and he can just, even if they lose, he can crush because he gets top of the banana.
I could see some Inferno here. Both of these teams really like to play Inferno. I could see some Inferno in this game.
Yeah, Vinny would be a good value play, I think, and that might actually be my value play.
There you go. Art's at 6,400. I like Art. I think he's going to get a little aggressive with some of these other players like Anafani and Enters and give them fits. I just think Shiro, Axile, and Hobbit they're too good. K Serrata and Yuri.
No.
I'm not touching them in single entries. Large field GPPs are the only, those two. I think I prefer Art to the other two. But you can really play any of those three in a large field GPP if you're playing one lineup and you want to say Furia win. I would limit it to those three. I wouldn't play Vinny or Junior at all. If you want to, by all means. For all leverage, all five are in play, especially if MMEs is just
oh yeah,
know,
definitely.
Again, by what the Pinnacle odds say here, they're plus 194 dog. Gambit's a minus 242 favorite. The gameplay, how Gambit have looked, just is going to make this a little bit more difficult for Furia. But I think Gambit as a team, just how they play Counter-Strike, I think is going to, take away some of the aggressive pushes of Furia, for that matter. And aggressive site takes, for that matter. Now, with that being said, I don't think there's really too much time to spend left on this game. You want to talk about anything else, or, pretty much sums it up. Everyone's in play for MMEs, and if you're taking shots in large field GPPs, we think everyone from Gambit's in play, and, everyone's from Furia's in play. Just careful on Vinny and Junior.
For single entry and Art, just because Art is so, and he can really disappear in losses.
Yes.
Because of that aggression. So I would, the volatility is too great for me to,
for a single entry
risk
standpoint, right?
For a single entry, exactly.
Yep. But for a large field GPP, he's a good play. If you're playing
for it.
the Furia wins game. All right.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Should we move on to what's going to be a quick less than 2 minute recap or preview of the next game?
Yep, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Team 1 versus Navi. Next game. They're a minus 1,000 favorite.
Oh dear.
Just saying.
And with the narrative that we've gone over, like, I just can't see Team 1.
No, I can't see Navi losing this matchup.
No.
We have picked on Team 1 every game. We're not stopping here with Navi. Simple, lock and load core play for me on this slate. Don't get cute. It's Team 1.
Yep.
It's the second best player in the world. Or you can argue he's the first best player in the world. He's the 1A, 1B. Zywu the 1A. Simple the 1B. You lock and load Simple on this slate. If you're MMEing, you want to be ballsy, you go 80% Simple.
Yeah, I think that might be a good. You might actually be above the field, but
I think that's very tough too. I mean, he's the most expensive price player on the slate. We're gonna get into the MIBR and Cloud9 game, and hopefully we can scrounge up some value because we've already picked a lot of expensive players. Get like 80% overall, so if you want to be like 40 in the flex, 40 the captain, just make sure you get a lot of Simple exposure. I wouldn't go overly like 40, 80% flex crazy. You want to get your exposure to Gambit, you want to get your exposure to Furia, you want to get some MIBR exposure and Cloud9 exposure. You want to make sure that, you're doing good lineups around Simple. So I would say, like, you want to go 40 to 40, 45, 50% Simple in the flex, and like around 30 to 40% captain. I'm okay with that strategy. If you play on like a 20 max or something like that. What do you think?
For single entry, I probably would not captain Simple, just because of the likelihood that Team 1 doesn't even put up a fight and it's low scoring. So for me, that's a pretty low floor and not much of a ceiling. I'm sorry. It's a fairly high floor with
not much
pretty low ceiling. Yeah, in my opinion.
That's fair take.
And definitely Electronic's a little overpriced. I bet you can't play. Perfecto's a little overpriced. Boomage is a little overpriced. Flamey's not, might not play more than one map. So
I think what we're saying is play Simple.
Yeah, definitely.
Play Electronic if you're like, maybe you want to go one Gambit. Like if you really want a 3-man stack Navi. This pricing makes it very difficult to 3-man stack Navi.
And that it does. Which could be a good thing for GPPs. I mean, if you're, looking at the ownership potential, It's going to be low for Electronic and Perfecto. I think it's going to be super low.
Yep. I think Electronic's my second favorite play. I'm staying away from everyone else. If you really want to take a shot on an $8,400 Perfecto, go for it. If you want to take a chance on a overpriced Boomage at $7,200, go for it. I think Simple is my favorite play on the slate. He's my core play on the slate. Electronic at 94 is a great GPP play. Fade all of Team 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else to talk about this game?
No, I'm good. Next.
Final game on the slate that doesn't include simple.
The decider.
Yeah, the decider game. MIBR versus Cloud9. One price that stands out to me on this slate, Zeppa's $9,200.
Oof.
He's about $1,000 overpriced at minimum.
Yeah.
That makes, and what we could see, Dan, is a very heavily owned floppy at probably north of it minimum 20%. I can see him getting to the 30 to 40 range.
Yeah, it didn't take long for me to notice that when we were comparing prices, or that our little opportunity cost analysis of Hobbit. So, I think you're right. I think a lot of people are going to pick up on that.
Yep.
I think the leverage is going to be MIBR. And you kind of have to. Okay. Yeah.
Talk to me about MIBR.
I mean, Cello's been cracking, and for the price, he could do good in a loss. So if you have that narrative, certainly will do good in a win too. And his bonus potential is like through the roof. So
he went toe to toe with Simple in that
with an AK.
Yeah, with that triple overtime on Mirage. He went toe to toe with Simple. Cello almost cracked 50 frags himself.
That's
on
right.
that map.
That is right.
Talk to me about the rest of MIBR. We know Cello's the best player on this team.
I mean, you don't want to hear what I have to say about Yell, or
Dan,
actually now Shiz.
We're already 40 plus minutes into the podcast. I don't think we want to take up the nice people's time that are listening to this podcast to hear you how much you love to play Yell and how you're going to have 100% of him tomorrow in single entry.
I don't even think that I would play Yell as a value play. For me, he'd have to be like 3,000, and that's just because of an emotional response from the other day when he scored 40 DraftKings points in their stomp.
And Dan didn't get any money on that slate. I don't think you did you?
No. I was set though. I was definitely in line. I had Shiz or Yell in the captain. I had Shiz and Bolts. So no Cello, but I had to make that compromise. And the only thing that could happen was if Yell did bad. And that's exactly what happened, and I was right on the bubble. And it was frustrating.
So that's
it's all well documented in the Discord too, by the way.
That just goes to show again, Dan's just extremely not happy with Yell right now. Yell is in Dan's doghouse. Yell doesn't even know who Dan is, and Yell's in Dan's doghouse.
Yep, he sure is. But I actually, now that we have done that and we've had this conversation, I think I would play him.
That's like me going on about Inters and Vinny earlier, and you're like, "Yeah, I'll play Vinny. Yeah, I'll play Inters."
I mean, he is their offer. He is 5,000. It's the payoff value or potential is there. So
100%. At $5,000, Yell can most certainly pay off this price tag if MIBR win. Wait a minute. Maybe Yell does know you. Dan's like, I don't know who this guy is. Anyway.
No, I have no idea.
I think it's safe to say we're not playing Dinoco.
No. Noco. No to Noco.
I think Shiz is the second best player on the slate. I'm sorry. Let me repeat that. Second best player on MIBR, not on the slate. I take that back.
Very good.
Certainly not the second best player on the slate. He's the second best player on MIBR. And I think I'm not going to go crazy here. I think if I'm playing MIBR, it's Cello and Shuz and move on. If you really want to get frisky, I think this is the showdown game on DraftKings. if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Bolts is my third favorite. Yell is my fourth favorite. If you wanted to go and just get some, Cloud9's going to be popular in that showdown. MIBR is going to be immediately your leverage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you could get, Cello, Shuz might be popular captains. You want to captain a Bolts in that showdown with the Cello or Shuz or whatever, however you want to do it. I'm okay with it. I think you want to leave Cello in one of those captain spots, but I don't mind playing some Bolts and captain on a showdown slate.
No. And those showdowns, like I actually got in a showdown it was a 23-man showdown and only 13 people signed up, so it was a pretty and I didn't cash, but and the top 5 paid, so almost a 50% pay rate, which
there you go.
Payout. Yeah, so just saying, for those showdown slates that the small ones that lock late, keep an eye out for those single entries.
For sure. Cloud9's not going to take us long. You and I both think Cloud9 win. Zeppa's at least $1,000 overpriced. Mezzi is, I guess, priced appropriately, maybe $1,000 overpriced. I don't know what to make of Mezzi. I mean, he's up and down, but like we saw versus Furia, he can just pop off. He has that talent. Floppy at 7,000 is my favorite play from from Cloud9 rather. Zeppa's my second favorite play. Esatag's my third favorite. Alex my fourth, and I just don't like the price tag for Mezzi. Alex at 5,200 is too cheap.
Yeah, the Alex price tag is too low. And I really, to be honest with you, I don't know enough about Mezzi. I haven't watched him enough to really comment on that. But yeah, I have seen him go crazy, and that's really all I can say about that.
I think Esatag's in a good spot. He's in a really good spot.
Can I ask why?
It's Yell as the opposing upper. They have Denoco, who isn't exactly, he's not a high fragger player. Bolts at times has shown he cannot frag well. If all I'm worried about is Cello, and if SHZ decides he wants to play well, Esatag can exploit that. Let's not forget Esatag was recruited to Astralis. Well, not recruited. He was brought on with Bubsky to Astralis. Was picked over Bubsky to maintain in the core 5 while Bubsky was on Astralis' bench.
That's right. Yeah, he's definitely top tier talent. So
absolutely,
there's no doubting that.
Any last minute things you want to talk about here on this game? We're gonna wrap this. Pod up.
Yeah, I think I just want to say that I'm probably gonna play MIBR in single entry and hope that they win.
That's not a bad approach to take. Definitely get some leverage, especially with all the playoff implications.
Because I'm tired of being on the bubble or in a tie with 20 people. So
there you go.
And the other thing you do is you can hedge the single entries, so you play Cloud9 in one and then MIBR on the other, and that can work out.
Yep. All right.
So
ready?
That's it.
Core value GPP play. Just gonna say, go ahead.
Core simple value is gonna be Vinny. GPP is gonna be electronic.
Yep. Also, I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna say simple here. Core play. Value is floppy. He's too cheap at 7,000. He should be like in the mid 7s to high 8 into low 8s with how good he's been playing recently.
Yeah, for the matchup, I agree.
So I just think, from a performance standpoint, I respect the 7,000 price tag. I think it's slightly too low. I think Nafany is a good value play. Esatag, Alex, and obviously Alex Junior, who we ranted on. GPP play, Zeppa. Nice. GPP play, Cello, Hobbit, and Axile. And I mean, Shiro kind of goes without saying. Give me your favorite team stack.
Teams. Oh,
Kind of
I gotta.
obvious.
Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna mix it up though. I'm gonna say MIBR.
I like it. I like it. I respect it. Bold prediction.
Um. Oh wow. So Furia beats Gambit.
I like it.
Thank you.
Welcome. Bold prediction for me. Floppy goes 60 and 30 and breaks the slate.
I like that one, and I think that's possible.
Or like somewhere around there. Like he goes easily plus 20. He could go plus 30, and I think he just absolutely breaks the slate. With that's my bold prediction. My favorite team stack
Yeah.
should come as no surprise. It's Navi. If you can't fit Navi, my favorite affordable team stack, Gambit and Cloud9.
Cool.
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the podcast, hit the notifications bell so you guys know every single time one of these things drop, every one of these podcasts, and leave a comment down below. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. And with that, Dan, any final thoughts on this slate?
Nah, just good luck. Hope we help somebody.
Absolutely. And for Dan, you can find him on Twitter at Wandelch, WANDELCH. You can find me on Twitter at AdamWX21. I'm going to continue to tease it for those of you that have listened this long. Dan and I have some very exciting things planned coming up in the coming weeks. One's going to involve Twitter. That's all I'm saying. With that, good luck. We wish you the best luck on the slate. Hopefully, one of you all take down that $10,000. Dan and I are going to take another $10,000. Let's win some money. Good luck. Latest, peoples.
Later.